Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the TGP2 Season 19 races from Hungary and Belgium. So tonight, I'm just going to go through a couple of little notes. Couple of noticeable absentees. We have Martin, who is not available for the next 4 races, so the championship will be wide open. And Smokey J isn't here tonight either. So tonight we could have one, maybe even 2 new winners of the season, unless Dom or Luca win. They have already won. So we've only 3.5 minutes to go. Quick rundown of the lap time. So Mike Noon is on pole, less than a tenth ahead of Jack Pearson, who I believe is on a lap here in the Force India. And it's Luca in third, 7 tenths down. That's quite a big gap. Maybe he can improve on that on his next lap. He's on an out lap at the moment. Dom Smith in fourth. As Jack Pearson dives into the pits. Oh, is he? Oh, Jack, that was very risky. Oh, he's damaged his front wing. Oh, he's making the right meal of this. He's trying to get back in as quick as possible to get another lap in. I don't know if he'll have time. So Mike is on an out lap at the moment. So I'm going to go... Oh, is that Luca? Luca's been in for a little spin. That's not going to do his tyres any good. Let's check out Dom Smith. Is he on a lap in the Mercedes here? Yellow flag in sector 2. Don't know what that's all about. Stay with Dom. Yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. Oh, Dom a bit wide there, clambering all over the curbs. That might affect his lap time. Is he still pushing though? It looks like he is. Try to get an onboard shot of Dom. Here he is. Out the third gear. Unfortunately, don't have a delta time on his steam. I was hoping he'll have a delta time, see if he's up or down, but he seems to still be pushing for it. So he's come around the final corner. Can he improve? Can he get onto the front row? It'll be very tight if he can get on the front row. Maybe get ahead of Luca. No, that doesn't look like he's done it. He might be going for a second lap time now. Dom does like to do that. Luca's pitted, so I don't think, unless he can get out now, I don't think he'll be able to improve his time. Jack's still in the pit. Jack's just leaving the pit, so he should get another lap in. And Mike, I think, is on a lap at the moment. On board with the man from Essex. Probably got that wrong. Anyway, runs a bit wide there. Heartbreaking number 38, his karting number. Shocking helmet design though, Mike. What is that? Something Owen would wear. There he's coming around the final corner. Can he improve? Can he extend that gap? He'd like a little comfort margin between him and Jack. And he does. He puts another 3 tenths in. So Mike, 118.058. Extends his pole margin. Is there anyone else on the lap? Dom, let's see him come around the final corner. He's still pushing, so it looks like he was on another lap. Can we see any improvements from the man from the Isle of Man? He does improve a little bit. 2 tenths. A couple of tenths he's knocked off there. But remains in 4th, and it's a huge gap back to Joe Sayer as well. So gaps are quite big, especially for a small circuit. Only 1 minute 18 lap from the quickest person. That is Mike Noon. Checkered flag is out. So these will be the final few laps coming in. So we'll just go right on board with Joe Sayer as he's coming through the S's. This is a hard place to get spot on. Even harder to overtake. Oh, who's that? Facing the wrong way there. One of the Saubers. Is it Red Bull Kim? It looks like it. Mike's come around the final corner again. Is he on another lap? He's going across the line. Jack's clambering all over the curves. Mike was on another lap. He's improved his lap time, so takes a smidge off it. Jose comes around the final corner. Can he improve? Where could I'm going to mute that a sec. Jose goes to third with that effort. Good lap time by Joe, as now we ride with Jack. As he's coming to the penultimate corner now. Can he steal pole away from Mike Noon? He would like to. I think Mike or Jack are probably the favourites for. Oh, Solanix goes up to P3. As Jack Pearson does not improve. So I think that is your order. Yes, it is. Everyone's finished. Red Bull Kim is in the pits. So on pole we have Mike Newman followed by Jack Pearson. That is your front row, and a fairly big gap back to Solanix and Jose on the second row, and Luca and Chris Johnson, who's nicked up into the third row there, fifth and sixth respectively, with Don Smith in seventh place. So between third and seventh could be a real good battle there. Please do get involved if you want any questions. I'll try and answer them. And a special shout out to Luca and his very warm and moist ciabattas. Just got to point that out there. And yes, Paul, I am doing a solo. all the best work's done solo. You should know that. So that is the end of the session. And so go through the order once again. So Mike Newman on pole, followed by Jack Peterson, Solanix in third, Josiah in fourth position, Luca in fifth, Chris Johnson nicking that sixth place. Dom Smith will probably be disappointed with seventh there. Jacko eighth, Bazza ninth, Michael Kenny in 10th, Mr. John 11th, James in 12th, and Red Bull Kim is the slowest of our runners today in 13th place. And I am going to have to skip that. Why is Mike trying to make my worst helmet design record from me? John-Luc Taylor is not happy, Mike. You can't take that. Oh, we'll skip that before Dom fires me. This setup is oversteering so much. I think that's Red Bull Kim. Oh, it's a wet race. Hashtag Mr. John Fan Club from Paul McGuinness. Mr. John, you have fans. Don't disappoint them. So, this is it intermediate tyres? It looks like it is. So could people set up for wet weather settings? That could be interesting. I wonder if Jack and Mike gambled on a dry setup to... Oh my gosh, my phone's ringing. I'm not going to answer that. Yes, so I wonder, did Mike and Jack do dry setups? Anyway, 5 red lights, and eventually we are where we're. And Mike gets a very good start there. He's cut off the challenge. Oh, Red Bull Kim's in the wall in the background. Hopefully he didn't get damaged. Jack's challenge around the outside of Mike Noon as we go into turn 1. Bit of action further back there. Oh, they're all wide. They're all going wide. What's happened here? This is madness. There's a McLaren spinning off in the background. There's a Ferrari tackling. I think Luca and Dom were tangling there. Oh, there's bodywork going off. Mr. John looks like he was the McLaren spinning off in the back. Oh, there's a Red Bull spinning. Who's that going around? That is, I'm sorry, it is Michael Kenny. Oh, Mr. John, he must have front wings. Bazza has got a corner cutting penalty. What an absolute disaster. Is it too wet or something? This is an absolute disaster. Dom Smith leads. What is this? Dom is leading this race. Has he gambled on a wet setup? So Dom leads, Mike second, Jacko third, Chris Johnson fourth. This is turned upside down from the starting positions. And who hasn't got damage as well? There's lots of action into turn 1. Loads of people went wide. Jacko in third, and Mike is challenging Dom Smith now. So Mike, can he? Oh, he's slipping on the curbs. Oh, who is that wide? Is that Jack Pearson wide in the first of the Force Indias there? Mike coming in, starting to attack Dom Smith there. Where can he make the move? Paul McGuinness on circuit. I'm inclined to agree with you. As Chris Johnson and Jacko side by side there, coming into the final corner. Jack Pearson will want to try and go down the inside of both of them, and Jose around the outside. Oh, this is very tight. It's still side by side. Oh, that's course, now the two Force Indians are going to go side by side. Mike New set the fastest lap, so has Mike. He has taken the lead. Can Dom Smith get him back going into the first corner? No. And back to the battle for third. So Jacko defends. Has he run wide? Yes, he has. Chris Johnson down the inside. He's definitely got third. And Jacko could be losing more positions to both the Force Indians, and he has done. So both Force Indians there, crucial for the Constructors' Championship. They'll want to be moving forward as Mike starts to extend his lead from Dom Smith now. The battle for third though. Chris Johnson, Jack Pearson, Jose, Jacko and Salax. Oh, Jack Pearson has made a little mistake there. Will Jose overtake him, or is he team orders and driver number 2 bitch, as a lot of people like to call Jose? What is that helmet? Actually, it's not too bad. Jacko under a bit more pressure from Salax now. Mike's a little bit wide there. Can Dom Smith capitalise going into the S's? It's very difficult to overtake through here though. It looks like sorry, I got a bit distracted there. So Mike's still got the advantage over Dom. Chris Johnson is pulling away from Jack Pearson, who's off the circuit. He's struggling in these conditions. It must be very tricky. Oh, he's very lucky boy. I've seen people end their race doing small contact like that. Now, can Jose dive that on the inside, or will he just stay behind his teammate? It looks like he's going to do that. Mike's lost the lead. I apologise, I can't keep up with this. Dom Smith back in the lead. Dom Smith, the legend of TGP. Shame he owes me a $5. He comes around and leads at the end of the second lap. So Dom Smith leads, followed by Mike New, who should have been pulling away, but a little mistake. These conditions proven to be very tricky for the drivers. And Chris Johnson in third, Jack Pearson in fourth place. He's got that first corner better now. It seems they're starting to get the hang of the first corner. Unlike the first lap, everyone piled in there. As Jacko and Salax maybe go side by side. Salax still maybe stuck behind. I think he's got a bit more pace than Jacko, but needs to find a way through sooner rather than later. If you think he's probably going to want to challenge for a podium, as Jack Pearson again. I think he's made the same mistake 2 laps in a row. So Jose now up into fourth place. Can Joe go on the offensive? Maybe Joe was quicker than Jack. So can Joe attack Chris Johnson? Gonna go back to the battle for the lead. Dom Smith sliding his way through the chicane as we're going to the S's side by side with Mike Noon. Mike's gonna take the lead. Sensible driver there from Dom Smith. No point in fighting that. Can he now just stick behind him, set him maybe for the start finish straight? It's very tricky, these conditions. Everyone's struggling with grip on turning and acceleration. By looks like Mike has pulled out a healthy little margin there. He'll be breathing a sigh of relief. So Chris Johnson's closing in the gap there. He's less than a second behind. So DRS not available at the moment, so I haven't had the message that it's available. Sometimes it can be available in damp conditions, but it looks like it isn't at the moment. So Chris Johnson within a second of Dom Smith. Can he maybe challenge and maybe going to challenge Mike for the victory? So over the line from the end of lap 3, Mike Noon leads and set the fastest lap, followed by Dom Smith, Chris Johnson in third, then Jose and Jack Pearson in fourth and fifth respectively for the Force Indies. Will they do a switcheroo? And at the moment, no. So maybe Joe was going to set the pace for Jack and maybe try and drag them up. So Solanus finally got past Jacko for 6th place. Can he now put the hammer down and catch up to his teammate Chris Johnson? So two Force Indies probably picking up a handful of points, maybe wanting more. Jack Pearson is now all over the back of. He's made another mistake there as James gets ahead of Jacko as well, going up into 8th place. Luca in 9th, Mr. John 10th, Basil 11th, Michael Kenny 12th, and Red Bull Kim struggling, it seems, at the back in 13th place. Dom Smith losing time to Mike drifting, and that's a little corner cut there. Probably definitely should have got a warning for that. Dom under pressure now from Chris Johnson. Should 5-second penalty for Jacko. Currently Colin gaining a place, so a naughty boy there. Bazza and James have been disputing 10th place. Keep an eye on Dom Smith through here though, so he's under a bit of pressure from Chris Johnson, and both the Force Indies are closing it as Mike is extending that gap out in front now. It looks like Mike, providing he doesn't make another mistake, could be on for a race victory. Of course, it could dry up yet. I don't know. I don't have any weather information in the commentary box with me. So coming out to the straight now, Dom drifting through that corner. It looks like he got decent traction though. So Mike's setting the fast lap once again, as is expected. Luca and Mr. John have got ahead of Jacko as well, as Jack Pearson pits. It's an early pit stop, so Dom defending from Chris Johnson. Can he park on the apex? Nicely done there by Dom. It is holding him up though, so Mike is only extending his lead even further. Jacko gets another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's going to pay more misery for him, and he's retired from the race. I think that could be a rage quit. So anyway, Dom Smith from Chris Johnson and Jose. This is probably the battle on track at the moment. Solanix in the background looks like he's going to catch up as well. Jack Pearson, where did he come out? He came out in 10th place. Is he in clear? Go back to it. Yes, it looks like he's on slicks. Very interesting. He's on the soft tyre, as is James, and Red Bull Kim has put more intermediates on, it looks like. He's not confident with the conditions, so Jack Pearson, first guy to make a move onto slick tyres. Mike 3 seconds out of the lead. Dom has, sorry guys, out of my action, increased the gap to Chris Johnson. DRS is enabled, so that generally probably means it is dry enough for slick, so Jack's gamble could pay off. Could he leapfrog all of these guys up into second place? So I'm presuming Mike will pit. Yes, he does. Mike is going to pit. Dom surely will follow, as will Chris Johnson, as will Jose. So all the action is going to be in the pits. Will Mike get held up though? I don't. He'll probably get away with it. Oh, drifting into the pits there. Solanix maybe. Yeah, he's having to do another lap. That's not ideal for him. He's probably best for. He's going to lose less time, perhaps, if the circuit's still wet enough for him to have grip on his intermediate tyres. So into the pits. Mike Noon leaving the pit. Good clean stop by him, it seems. He's onto the soft tyre as well. Bazza has stayed out, so he will be second place. Mike, can he get the tyres up to temperature? Chris Johnson has leapfrogged Dom Smith. And Jack Pearson has leapfrogged the pair of them. Jack Pearson up into 4th place, which would be a net second. What has happened to Dom Smith? He's either crashed or my game has messed up. His Dom's stuck in the pits. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, that is terrible luck. Having Jacko pitting and leaving has caused Dom to be stuck in the pit. Nice game. Mike is struggling to get the tyres up to temperature. As Solanix, I think he's struggling more though. Mike's gaining loads of time through the middle sectors. So unfortunately the track has dried up too much for Solanix to stay out on the intermediate tyres. Dom Smith has joined again, and the crew have finally serviced him. Oh, poor Dom, he's in 11th place. As Red Bull Kim has made a second stop, it seems. So Solanix will dive into the pit lane. Will he go the super soft tyres? Nah, that'd be too much for him, so it's got to be a soft tyre all the way to the end. So Solanix in the pit. Mike Noon will regain the lead. A nice healthy gap of 3 seconds to Jack Pearson, who will take over second place. Chris Johnson in third and Jose in fourth. Jack Pearson fastest lap of the race. Kind of predictable. He's the first guy on slick, so he should be used to the conditions. While Jose with DRS not close enough to Chris Johnson. Solanix in the pits still as he now comes out of the pit. Bazza also in the pits. I think he's done a penalty, so Luca should jump. Mr. John goes ahead of Solanix, so he is up to 5th place, and he had front wing damage early on. James setting the fastest lap. Oh, that's it. On medium tyres as well, so maybe the medium tyres is the way to go in these conditions. Mr. John in 5th, I say. Solanix 6th. Luca up into 7th. James on the medium tyres, fastest man on track at the moment in 8th place. So the field has now spread out quite significantly. This is the closest battle on circuit. It is between Chris Johnson and Jose for the final podium spot. As Dom Smith has pitted again. Did they not? Oh, they didn't change his tyres. Oh, dear me. Ah, Dom. Well, at least you'll get points under the Jose point system. You might as well pay me at Fiverr as well. Back to the battle for 3rd position now. Chris Johnson has a slightly bigger gap now over Jose. So Joe, even with DRS, will probably not gain enough. In fact, he's gaining more time. Mike Noon now sets the fastest lap of the race. So quickly followed by Jack Pearson. So the guys are quickly getting used to the conditions now. Can Jack close in 2.5 seconds with still plenty of time left? About 11 laps left, including the one they are on. Chris Johnson half a second still ahead of Josiah as my timing system's going to be crazy there. Mr. John, Solanix and Lucas starting to close up on each other, and behind them Bazza and I think that's Red Bull Kim, who's a lap down after having made a second pit stop to go onto the super soft tyres. He's going for the glory of fastest lap, I think. Michael Kenny still on intermediate tyres, he's now finally pitting as well. A bit too late, I think, so guys at the back either had bad luck or just struggling on intermediate tyres and not willing to risk it on slick. So Mike Noon leads. Looks like he's pulling out a gap over Jack Pearson in this lap as Chris Johnson and Jose once again resume battle. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. I'm going to try and find out if I can catch it. Can't see it. Mr. John and Slice and Luca are all bunching up quite nicely there. Jose thought about diving down the inside of Chris Johnson there. So the battle for the final podium spot is the one to watch at the moment, but I'm going to keep an eye on the gap between Mr. John Slice and Luca, which is closing up very quickly. Mike Newman again, fastest lap of the race, 122.0. Probably going to still tumble down a little bit more as the track still continues to dry up. Can Jose send a dive bomb down the inside into turn 1? Doesn't think about it. Chris Johnson a little bit cautious on the inside there. So can Joe, with a second DRS, get a slingshot come around the outside? He's a brave man to do it. And Chris Johnson hugs the inside line defence as Mr. John and Solanix are going side by side for 5th place. Still side by side, the Toro Rosso drive and the McLaren. Solanix has got that, so can Luca. Here comes Luca diving down the inside. Bit of the contact there. It looks like Luca has made the move fairly clean. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there with it being a computer game. But Mr. John struggling, it seems, to adapt to the drying conditions, unlike Luca and Solanix, who now go 5th and 6th respectively. So I wonder if Luca can stick on and maybe fight Solanix for 5th place, because it's a big gap up to Jose and Chris Johnson, who are fighting out for the last podium place. Mike New has extended the gap about a second since the last time I looked, which was about a lap ago. So Mike cruising to victory, it seems. Dom Smith goes for glory and the fastest lap. Mike New quickly takes it back away from him though. 120.281. Chris Johnson very wide coming out the final corner there. So Jose with DRS and slipstream, but doesn't look like he's close enough. He's getting closer though. Trying to maybe set him back into turn 2. Chris Johnson again, nice and neat, going into turn 1. Take forever to come out that turn 1 to get in this camera shot. So coming onto the, I'm going to call it the back straight. Can overtake going into this corner, it's very brave. You have to be right onto the tail end of someone. And now we come into the middle sector, nearly impossible to overtake. Solanix and Mr. John, I think, have swapped places. Oh, it's Solanix and Luca. So Luca has got ahead of Solanix. He's on a charge. The man from the Isle of Man. Do check out his ciabattas, they are lovely, I've been told. 13-second gap to Joe, so he's probably not going to get any further ahead unless of penalties or mistakes or crashes. Speaking of penalties, Jack Pearson hasn't got one yet. I'm surprised at that. Mike New, a gap over 4 seconds. He is strolling away with it at the front now. He just needs to. Oh, there's a couple of back markers ahead. That's not going to do him any favours. And they are battling. It's Dom Smith and Michael Kenny for 10th and 11th. So they are actually fighting. Dom Smith gets the better of Michael Kenny. Can Michael Kenny come back on him? Doesn't seem so. So Dom Smith in 10th and probably will pull away on them tyres. I don't see the Super Softs having enough grip to last till the end of the race. And Mike will be relieved at that as well. They will be battling as he comes up to them. Back to Chris Johnson and Josiah. Still Joe, he's either struggling just to keep on the same pace as Chris Johnson, or he's just biding his time, boarding his time, as Owen would say. Red Bull Kim going very wide there. He's struggling. Can Jose, what he needs to do through the tricky SS section here and is not do that, clamber all over the curves. That will slow him right the way through. He needs to stay as close as he can to Chris Johnson to set him up for the DRS, but he's struggling. It looks like the dirty air is having a real bad effect on his car as he's struggling to keep up. He's not done too bad though. He's still kept the gap under a second. So it's these now final 2 corners. He's very wide though. It's not. Is it desperation now from Jose? He's trying his hardest to get past Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson doing everything right. It seems he's just sticking to the racing line. He's not having. Well, he's got enough of a gap every time he gets on the straight. So Chris Johnson happily going about his business in 3rd place. Mike Newell, it looks like, has backed off. The gap has stayed stagnant for a lap. Luca has closed the gap by about a second on that. So Luca is on a charge. The man from the Isle of Man in the Ferrari, flying along is Luca. He's a race winner, of course, so this doesn't surprise. There we are. Jack Pearson finally lives up to his name. Gets a penalty for corner cutting. Ah, Jack. Maybe one race you can go without one. Back to the battle for third though, because Chris Johnson still holding on to Jose. Unfortunately, it's the only battle on the circuit, and Jose just not making it die for it. Come on, Joe, liven it up. Alright, guys, TGP1 will be back soon. And if you want some close court action, check out TGP Cars. Every Tuesday, 6:30 PM on Say Sports. And it's live. Back to the action, so Chris Johnson again, about a half a second gap on Jose every time he comes onto the start finish straight. Joe, it seems he's powerless to do anything about it. Come on, Joe, turn the engine into mega rich, or dive down the inside. He's still not doing it. I wonder if Joe is just going to prove me wrong. He's boarding his time. Closer than ever, though, it seems, to Chris coming into turn 2 here, or turn 3 as it's officially called. Closest he's looked. Doubt he'll make a move down here. He's just showing Chris he's there in the mirror. Still looks like that gap. Luca is 10.5 seconds. He's closing. If he hadn't been, I think, messed up in the first corner, maybe had damage, you know, who knows where Luca could have been. Definitely could have been on the podium, a podium challenger. Better luck in the next race at Belgium, which you'll see live straight after this race. Mike Noonan still pulling out ahead of Jack Pearson, who also has a 3-second penalty, but the gap between him and Chris Johnson is sufficiently big enough to not affect Jack Pearson. So front 2 look settled unless Jack goes on the rampage and gets more penalties. Back to Chris Johnson and Joe Sayer with 5 laps to go when they cross the line, and that's, again, the gap is still maintained at about half a second every single time. This must be frustrating for Joe. These two are locked, it seems, in a dead heat. Chris Johnson always has the advantage of getting onto the straight with enough of a gap, so he's, like I said, he's doing everything right to keep that gap maintained. Luca still is closing that gap. What Luca would desperately need is these two to battle more, so Joe Sayer, for Luca's benefit, needs to get involved. Chris Johnson a little bit wide there. Could this be Joe's chance to send one down the inside, put a bit of pressure on Chris? Now would be a good opportunity in this chicane. This is an overtaking place, but it looks like he's just going to stay behind. So we'll go through the S's. It is now important for Joe to stick right on the tail end of Chris. That looks a better line from Joe. This is more promising as we go out of these S corners. This is where Joe needs to set up Chris Johnson. He's right on the tail. A little bit of contact there. I hope that's not damaged Joe's front wing, because that will severely dampen any chances of him getting a podium. It looks like he's okay, so he probably got away with it. Can he now set him up onto the straight? This is the closest Joe has been in this whole battle. It's less than about 4/10 of a second. Chris Johnson has moved to defend down the inside very early along, so here goes Joe going around the outside. Will he go the flap? He won't. He's going to stick around the outside. Chris Johnson defends very nicely there. Can Joe on the switchback go around the outside into turn 2? Now side by side, still hanging around the inside. It looks like Chris Johnson has got the corner. He has, so well defended there by Chris Johnson. Joe try this, maybe set him onto the straight. He's all the power he can, but not quick enough coming on. So Chris Johnson survives another lap in P3 as we've got 4 laps to go, or 3.5 laps to go of this circuit. Mike New's still out in front, 6.5 seconds to Jack Pearson, who does have a penalty, but is under no immediate threat from the battle we are watching for 3rd place between Chris Johnson and Joe Sayer. 5th place is Luca, who has got pretty good pace at the moment, but it looks like he's slowed it down. Maybe he's just settled for 5th. Chris Johnson very wide. Oh, lucky boy! I've seen people hit that wall. Jack Peterson being one of them, he got away with it. So, in fact, I think it's helped him out, extend that gap. Did Joe Sayer get front wing damage? Doesn't look like I don't think he did, but Chris Johnson, this is now the biggest gap that he's had compared to the last lap, where it was the closest gap. So 3 laps to go. Chris Johnson extending that gap out over Jose across the line. So going back to the order, so Luca in 5th place, Solanix in 6th. That is actually closer than I thought it was. Here comes Solanix, so he's closed the gap back on to Luca. I wonder if Luca's worn his tyres out too much, pushing too hard. So Solanix going on the switchback, going to try around the outside. This is a brave move to do it. Luca looks like he has defended the corner pretty well there. So next will have to, well, can he get a run onto the straight? He's pretty close, but it'll be brave man. He's going for it. He's going to go around the outside into this corner side by side. This is very risky. Luca defends it very well though. Fair play to Luca defending that. So this is probably the closest battle now between 5th and 6th between Luca and Solanix. Mr. John in 7th place. He did have front wing damage, so he's probably just yeah, I bet he still had front wing damage. I bet he didn't change it in the pit stop, so that's probably why he is struggling. He's in a bit of no man's land though. James in 8th, Bazza in 9th, Dom Smith, incredible bad luck on the pit stops. Got stuck behind a car that wasn't there, thanks to Codemasters. Michael Kennedy in 11th, and Red Bull came a lap down, but still running in 12th place. Mike Newman, the gap over Jack Pearson is pretty much 8 seconds. Mike Newman can cruise to victory now. So Solanix and Luca, we are watching the battle for 5th place. Like I say, if you do want to get involved, just message on the chat. I will try and read out everybody's comments. The first corner, first lap was pretty comical, but other than that, it's been a fairly stagnant race. Jose still within a second of Chris Johnson, but it looks like Chris Johnson has actually opened up a tiny bit more of a gap. Solanix locking up the inside wheel there as he had a little think. It's cost him though on Luca going into turn 2. With only 2 laps to go, time is running out for Solanix and Jose if they want to improve on their positions. We'll go back to the battle for 3rd place. Chris Johnson still holding up on Joe, who maybe now trying to mount a last lap charge. He's got to really. He's a bit wide, he might get away with that. Chris Johnson knows, other than running, he's ran a little bit wide. Running wide a lap ago is probably the only mistake he made. He's defended it very nicely. Luca also defending his position very nicely from Solanix as well. So onto the final lap goes Mike Noon, majestically pulling away. It's been a solid drive. Shame about his helmet. Jack Pearson in 2nd. He'll probably be happy with that. Solid punch for Force India as Chris Johnson and Jose. Looks like the gap is too big for Joe, so unless Chris Johnson makes a mistake on this final lap, I think Chris Johnson will have that podium spot. So Luca and Solanix, the gap is about the same really. So Solanix, looking at his tyres, I wonder if his late charge has come to an end. He won't give it up though, and no, Joe won't give it up either, but the gaps are extended. Joe to Chris Johnson is actually over a second now, so I think either Joe's tyres have given up the ghost following Chris Johnson too much, or he does have it. Joe spun! No! Jose has spun! He's got to quickly throw it in reverse. Can Luca capitalise? It looks like he has. He's lost 2 positions, Jose. That's crucial for the Constructors' Championship. Force India losing points there. And Joe is struggling. I think Joe's tyres have gone. Mike New, I apologise, has won the race. Jack Pearson will come across second any moment now. Yes, Chris Johnson is going to come across in 3rd. So the battle for 4th now between Luca and Solanix. Solanix sees an opportunity for even more points than he expected. Luca defends. Coming into the penultimate corner now, Solanix desperately looking around the outside, Luca hogging that inside line like his favourite granny. And again he's going to do the same. Can Solanix do a switch back? Luca got to park it a bit. Solanix doing everything he can. Can he get the run? Is he going to nick it with DRS? Oh, 0.088. Luca just holds out on a 4th. Jose at 6, even disappointed with that. Mr. John comes across line in 7th place. James coming across line in 8th. And Bazza round in the last corner now on the super soft tyres. Will come home in 9th. Dom Smith already finished a lap down in 10th. Mike Kenny in 11th. And Red Bull Kim in 12th. I think is the last person to come across the line. He will do very soon. So that is your race. Mike Noonan, the victor, the standout victor there. Super drive by Mike Noonan. No one is even close to him. Jack Pearson tried all he might, but Mike had his number. Pretty much a second every lap. So that is your TGP2 race here at Budapest in Hungary. Started off wet. It was very entertaining going at turn 1. Nobody got their braking points right at all. And there's Mike Noonan on the podium, celebrating. He'll be drinking a lot tonight. No, Mike likes a good drink. Champagne flies here. Jack with the stupid Korean flag. I haven't said that, the horse in the Olympics, I'll let him have that one. And Chris Johnson with a stupid Qatar flag. And Mike Noonan with a stupid Norwegian flag. So there you are, 3 Brits, just to sum it all up there. So Mike Noonan first, Jack Pearson second, Chris Johnson in 3rd place. Luca holding on to 4th from Solanix. Jose dropped from 4th to 6th on the last lap with a spin. You'll be thoroughly disappointed at that. Mr. John 7th. James in Red Bull in 8th. Bazza 9th. Dom Smith 10th. Michael Kenny 11th. Red Bull Kim in 12th. And Jacko retiring from the race in the pits. We'll be back soon with the Belgium Grand Prix. Hello everyone and welcome back to Belgium, to Spa-Francorchamps, the legendary circuit here in the Ardennes forests. Right, with Luca, who isn't the first one out, who he normally likes to go the first one out on TGP2 just to be on pole position for at least 2 seconds. So it looks like we only have 11 runners in the second race here, Dolphin just leaving the pits. Is on an outlook. Kim, no. Can you find reverse and get out of there? Alright, Rebecca has been disqualified. Oh dear. So he'll start from the back of the grid. I'm just going to stack on my commentary through this qualifying session. Oh my god. The back end coming around on there. Almost put it in the wall in no name there. Stick with Mike as he goes through Pujon. The race winner out in Budapest. When is a good time to go out in Spa? Probably towards the end of the session if it's still dry. Track should be rubbered in nicely then. Mike, it looks like he's going to be the first person to set a lap time. 1:45.3, that's a good lap there from Mike. Solid effort there from the race winner out in Hungary. Luca, only 3/10 off in second, he'll be pretty pleased with that effort. Chris Johnson, oh, Baz has lost his front wing. I can't see where that is. Is that? I'm not sure what part of the circuit that is. Chris Johnson in third place, Mike Kenny in fourth. Seconds off. I'm sure he'll be going again on another run. Jack Pearson, 1:45.2. This is the fastest lap. He has been getting help from TGP1 champion Softcop. It seems to be paying off for him. Will people do 2 laps? I can't imagine they would. It's quite a long lap here, so I think they don't do 1 lap pit and then go again for a second run. John is on, so I'll keep an eye on him when he starts his lap. Looks like everyone is back in the pit. Oh my gosh, Mr. John, he's not going to save that. That before he's even started his lap. Huge tank slapper. He'll be coming straight back into the pits to repair that front wing, unless the game has just done that for him. Super softs. Very interesting, that would be tactical. Last 4 minutes of qualifying, this is where will be decided in the final few moments here. So Basil looks like he's going to go for an alternate strategy, qualifying on these super soft tyres. Let's see if that pays off for him in the race. Chris Johnson and Luca leaving it a bit later than everyone else, as has Mr. John come out onto the track. Probably not a bad idea actually. Because I think it'll be Mike Noon again, the first of the runners to set their final run. If you are watching, welcome. This is TGP2 Season 19 on the F1 2017 game. If you are new to League Racing or want to get involved, contact TGP Series on Twitter, give them a follow, give them a private message if you would like to get involved. We host leagues in F1, TGP Cars, FIFA and various other games as well. Back to the action now. So Mike Noon through Eau Rouge, open to Harris, flat out down the Campbell Straight. Can he improve? He only needs to find a 10th to be pole, but he'll be wanting to find out a lot more than that though. I think a statement to Jack Pearson, who currently sits on on pole position, excuse me, is coming around the final corner now. Is Jack Pearson to start his flying lap. Back to Mike Noon, it's much better from him through No Name there. Going through Pujon now. Fully committed on the curbs, that might have cost him time. He might have got away with that though, actually. His card's just off, it might have put him off. Was that Bazza? No, it's not Bazza. No, was it Bazza? It may have been. No, it wasn't, it was Luca. McNew now coming towards the end of the lap through Blanchimont, fully committed. Can he take pole position away from Jack Pearson? Nice and neat into the final corner there, into the bus stop chicane. Coming across the line now, Mike 144.911 provisionally takes pole position. Solid effort there from Mike Noon. Jack Pearson is on a lap though, so can Jack Pearson maybe take pole position back? Well, Luca, can he? He starts flying off as well, maybe Luca following Mike Noon, so we're doing a Hector Barbara, as I like to say. We'll ride with Jack Pearson as we end this lap. Onto the final run towards the bus stop chicane. Needs to nail the braking point, needs to nail the where he's turning in, pick his spot, hit the throttle, nail it to the line. Can he take pole position back off Mike Noon? 144.911 to beat, and he does. 144.807. Again, takes about a tenth of a second, does Jack Pearson. And that is qualifying over. Jose across the line is the first one across the line. He goes to 4th place, 145.8. That is his session done in the Force India. As Luca, how is his lap doing? It looks like he's closed in on Mike Noon, so unless Mike Noon's not been on a good lap, Luca could be flying on here. Bazza has retired from the session. He is in 10th, starting on the Super Softs though, so keeping an eye out for him in the race. Mr. John's session has also finished 147.0. He is provisionally in 8th place. Mike Kenny may want to have desires to change that. So here comes Luca into the final corner. Mike Noon just ahead of him though, so we'll follow Mike across the line. There's Mike powering on. He's probably lost a lot of time. What can Luca do? Luca, agonisingly close to taking the front row slot off Mike Noon. Less than a tenth of a second. Solid effort there from Luca. He is provisionally in 3rd place. Solenex, his session has ended in 5th place, provisionally 145.987. Chris Johnson coming now across the line. What can he do? He goes up to 4th place, 145.3, to demote Jose down to 5th. And we've got Dom Smith as well. He is on a lap. He's him and Michael Kenny, the only two to finish the session now. So Michael Kenny is the one closest. He's come up to the bus stop chicane. Can he improve on his 147.1? He'll surely want to be doing that. He'll be wanting to get closer to the midfield back. To the bus stop chicane. It looks nice and neat. A little bit maybe hesitant on the throttle. He doesn't improve. No, so he stays in 9th place. What about Dom Smith? Final man across the line. What can Dom Smith do? Don't know. P2 does that say? No, P7. Couldn't read his dashboard there, so Dom Smith stays in P7. So that is your order here in Belgium for TGP2. Jack Pearson on pole, followed by Mike Noon in 2nd. Luca in 3rd, less than a tenth behind Mike. Chris Johnson in 4th, Jose in 5th. Jose once again stuck behind Chris Johnson, I'm sure he'll enjoy that. Solenex in 6th, Tom Smith 7th, Mr. John 8th, Mike Kenny 9th, Bazza 10th, and Red Bull Kim, unfortunately got disqualified spinning the bus stops, will start at 11th place. As I say, watch out for Bazza though on these super soft tyres. He'll be doing an alternate strategy to the rest of the guys. I better make sure I don't get caught out by that. So here we go then, 5 red lights. Jack Pearson versus Mike Noon, who will take the whole shot into turn 1. Lights out now, and away we go. Jack Pearson with a solid start. Mike Noon struggling to get traction down, so Jack Pearson will take the lead into turn 1. Luke it down the inside. Oh, Mike Noon. As everyone falls into turn 1. It looks like everyone has got through cleanly. Red Bull Chem at the back there. Jack Pearson, that's a nice healthy lead going into the Orange. Side by side, Luca and Mike Noon. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there. Careful, boys, as looks like Chris Johnson went very wide. Now onto the Camel Straight. This is going to be madness. Could be 3 wide here. Mike Noon defending now from Jose on the outside. And he's got Dom Smith on the inside. Looks like he's held him off. Joe a little bit wide. Dom round the outside of Joe. Slight contact there. Can Dom hang on to the Toro Rossos there with Solanix ahead of Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson on a terrible start. He's behind Solanix there. He'll not be happy with that. Baza up to 8th place. If I'm right in saying he should be on the super soft tyres. Yes, he is. As is Jacko. As is the Red Bull Kim. Well, Jacko did join, so we have 12 runners. Back to the front, Jack Pearson with 2-second lead. He'll be over the moon with that. Over the noon with that, I should say. Luca in second. Mike Noon. He'll want to dispose of Luca very quickly, but having said that, Luca has got pace. He's proved it in Budapest, so it would be tricky for Mike Noon to get past Luca. DRS and slipstream would be definitely needed here to get past. So as we come now on the run to the boss chicane for the first time, Jack Pearson with 2-second lead. He basically over the moon of that. He's doing a Sebastian Vettel. Mike Noon around the outside now of Luca going into the chicane. Be brave man, but if he sticks it, he could be on the inside line. He's going for it. Lovely move there by Mike Noon. And now Jose looks like he's wanting to get involved. Jack Pearson obviously fast, like a lot of action in the background there. Was that Chris Johnson? It was Chris Johnson and appalling first lap. He's down to 11th place. Disaster for Chris Johnson. Jacko is now up to 7th place. There's contact between him and is that Michael Kenny and Mr. John. Mr. John again. Oh, he's had such a terrible luck. Damage everywhere, front wing everywhere. And he's got a whole lot to do. Damage front wing to get back to the pit. Red Bull came picking up pieces as Michael Kenny will also, I presume, have front wing damage from that. And Jacko is the beneficiary there. He is up to 7th place on super soft tyres. That could play into his hands. Mike Noon! What am I watching there? He's him and Lucas side by side going. I forgot the corner's name. I completely forgot the corner's name. I'm sorry there. Luca gets back into 2nd place. This is only helping Jack Pearson extend his gap. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. It looks like Jacko has made a mistake. I've just been praising him as well. He's got. Has he got a puncture? Oh, he's spawned. Oh dear, Jacko. Oh, this is terrible. What a terrible evening for Jacko. Mr. John has ended his race. Jacko facing the wrong way. He could be ending his race as well. And there's damage there for Cindy. It looks like it's virtual safety car caught. Jose does have damage. He might want to pit in now if the virtual safety car lasts to the end of the end of the lap. He'll be desperately wanting that virtual safety car to end so he can pit, get that front wing change and get back out and not lose too much time. But what will Jack Pearson do? Will he pit? Get his pit stop over. If he does, he'll screw over Jose big time. He doesn't pit. Luca in second. Mike Noon in third. Jose does not pit. I'm surprised at that. Unless the virtual safety car is ending. I would have pit if I was Joe there. There are 2 pit stops. Chris Johnson and Baza are both in the pits. This is a sensible move for Chris Johnson as the virtual safety car has ended. Yeah, terrible timing for him. And Jose though, he's looking to get right on Mike Noon's case as he comes onto the Camel Straight. DRS apparently is enabled. Yes it is, so Mike Noon challenging Luca, and Jose will pick up any pieces if there is contact between these 2 guys. Mike Noon around the outside of Luca. Again, Luca's still hanging on in there. They're still side by side. Still side by side. Luca's not going to give in. Mike now forces his way across and he does take 2nd place. Mike Noon. Can he hold that line? Luca looking to get the switch back. Coming into no name now. Oh, they were still side by side there. So Mike now up to 2nd place. Jack Pearson. Mike's lost it again. Well driven Luca to avoid that. That was a potential airplane accident there. So Luca back up in 2nd. Mike is getting frustrated. Jose is very wide. I think that is front wing damage. And Dom Smith now up into 4th place. I think Jose should have pit. Mike's round. Mike is in the wall. Mike Noon, the race winner from Budapest, is in the wall, facing the wrong way. He'll definitely have damage, I'm sure of it. Disaster for Mike Noon. to the race winner from Hungary. He's not going to repeat that performance unless an actual safety car comes out. He's going to struggle back to the pits. Front wing damaged. Tyres worn, gravel coated. Oh, disaster there for Mike Noon. And Jack Pearson is strolling away in the lead. Like, nothing's ever happened to him. Lucas second, Jose in third as Don Smith pits. This is a scheduled stop for the Manxman. Going on to the super soft tyres. Is there a front wing change happening? No, so this looks like it's an early scheduled pit stop for Dom Smith. Goes on to super soft, looking to do the undercut Solanix all over Josiah. I do believe Josiah has front wing damage through Eau Rouge. Careful, Solanix. There's been some mighty accidents through here in TGP Past. We'll have the DRS as we come now into the chicane at the end of the straight. Coming down the inside, doesn't make the move. Joe a little bit wider. He's made it stick though, so fair play to Josiah. He's now defending from a Toro Rosso. Makes a change. He's a little bit wide there. Slonex a little think about making a move down the inside. So Dom Smith, after his pit stop, has come out in 5th place in clean air, ahead of Chris Johnson. Oh, it's crucial that he came out ahead of Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson has pitted, remember, so this is a legitimate fight for position. It looks like it has paid off for Chris Johnson to pit in there. He's gained a fair bit of time onto Dom Smith. So what can Dom Smith now do with the potential undercut? Needs a good, quick, solid lap there to overtake Lance and Joe and potentially get himself a podium place. Luca in second, Jack Pearson 6.5 seconds out, plus in front, cruising. It looks like to victory, as long as he doesn't make any silly errors. I can't imagine he would though. Now with a gap that much, he can just take it nice and easy. Will he pit this lap? Yes, he does. So Jack Pearson, nice and safe, coming into the pits. Brakes for the pit limiter. Luca is also into the pits. Joe's in the pit stop, forcing you're going to double stack. This is not going to work out for Josiah. He'll definitely lose place to Solanix. He'll probably lose a place to Don Smith as well, who has gained the gap onto Josiah at the end of that lap. I'm sure of it. Jack Pearson should be leaving the pits any moment now. Yes, he does, to retain the lead. No problems there. Chris Johnson, the fastest man on circuit, 148.6. Don Smith, has he got into second place? He's very wide though. He needs all the room he can get onto Luca, but he's got Chris Johnson having a look down the inside at him into Eau Rouge, and Luca just ahead of Luca. He needs to get his tyres up to temperature. Chris Johnson, a brave man around the outside in Eau Rouge, and now can he challenge Luca? He'll have a DRS as well. Luca defending, Chris Johnson going around the outside into Lacombe. Can he make the move stick? He's got to, whilst Lucas probably getting his tyres up to temperature. Around the outside, Chris Johnson. That is fair play. Around the outside of Dominic. Luca having a fight back though. Luca's not going to give this up. He knows how to fight. He's been fighting Mike Noon. He's got the inside line. Chris Johnson around the outside. There's going to be contact there, surely. Slight contact. Don Smith went very wide, bizarrely. He lost out the most in that, and he wasn't even part of it. So Chris Johnson, nice and aggressive, made 2 positions up. Here comes Luca though, down the inside into Pouan. Brave man. He's lost a lot of time. He's run very wide there. Unfortunate for him though, Dom Smith lost even more time trying to avoid potential contact between them, and here he's under pressure from Sir Lanix in 5th place. Lucas struggling on this lap to find his rhythm. I think Chris Johnson, being nice and aggressive that he was, has put Luca off his rhythm, so Chris Johnson has escaped with a second margin that's put him out of DRS range. Coming through Blunchman, Dom Smith, Luca and Solanix. It's going to get very tasty. Solanix maybe looking around the outside of Dom Smith. Dom Smith in the slipstream of Luca, so it's going to be status quo as we come into the bus stop. Dom Smith looking at this in a nice line. He's setting him up maybe for a run into turn 1. He'll have DRS as well Solanix, and they're just behind them two. It's Jose and Basil. Jose hasn't lost too much time actually. Did he change his front wing? Questions to be answered later, as now we come on to Mike Newman with the fastest lap of the race. We'll watch out for Mike Newman's progress through the field as well. Jack Pearson with a 10-second gap out in front over Chris Johnson, who has a second gap margin over these 3. Dom Smith a little bit wide through Eau Rouge. Not the ideal line, but he'll have DRS on to Luca. Chris Johnson, can Dom overtake his fellow Manxman around the outside into the comp? He's going for it. Oh, they're still side by side. Luca once again showing his defensive prowess through Lacombe. He's not going to give him. Tom Smith still going to try around tight. He's got to be careful because Chris Johnson will be. Solanix will be sniffing at for any opportunity to go past. Oh, he had a quick look there. It was contact. Solanix sideways. He saves it from the wall, but he's lost an awful lot of time. And Mike Noon. Did Mike Noon actually hit the wall there? Was that just my game? I hope not, because Mike Noon, I want to see him charge. He'll be seeing Solanix there and a first victim in his sights. And now we go back to it should have been a battle for third place, but it looks like Luca's got away with that. He's dealt with Dom Smith's attempts, and now he's hunting after Chris Johnson. Jack Pearson for a 12-second gap. Be careful with the corner cuts though, Jack. You don't want to be getting an unnecessary penalty. He's probably going for fastest lap. He's doing a soft cop. Soft cop, Jack Pearson's favourite mentor, of course. So, lap 7 then, Jack Pearson leads. 12.5 seconds to Chris Johnson in second. Luca in third, Dom Smith fourth. Jose at fifth. Baza in sixth on the ultra soft tyres. Can he make them last to the end? We'll keep an eye on him. Solanix in seventh and Mike Noon trying to make a comeback drive. Spinning, loses front wing, is in 8th place. How far can Mike Noon come? The race winner from Budapest earlier on in the evening. For their brief on-board shot there of Dom Smith. Pictures provided by him from FOM. Thank you, Dom Smith. Luca coming in. He's having a little look at Chris Johnson. Just letting him know that he is there. Chris Johnson's early pit stop under the virtual safety car definitely paid off there. He's thrown quite a few guys up into second place, defending that with all of his might. He defended very well from Jose in the last round. Jose forced Jose into a spin. Mike Noon has got past Solanix. There is a yellow flag in sector 2. It's Solanix. He spun. Oh dear, he's having a nightmare stint after the pit stops. He's got back going again. It looks like he's got away with no damage again, so he'll continue, but he's in no man's land. He's 8 seconds behind Mike and 19 seconds ahead of Mike McKenney, who is running 9th, and Red Bull Kim still running in 10th place. Back to the action now. So Chris Johnson, once again, he seems to open up the gaps big enough on the most important areas, like the straight or anywhere with slipstream, although this isn't DRS assisted, but he's almost got a second gap over Luca as we head into the first DRS zone, or the second DRS zone if you want to call it that. Be pedantic as it is the end of the lap. So lap 8, Chris Johnson once again called into defensive action, and we're holding on to second place, riding on board with the man from Qatar apparently. Unusual line for Rouge, he gets away with it. Luca will be in DRS range and slipstream. He'll just be probably looking to gain on him. I would have thought. He's just sticking his nose out and just letting him know that he is there. Maybe trying to force Chris into a mistake. Dom Smith in 4th place, not under the immediate threat from Josiah, but Josiah doesn't want to be doing that too often. Baza not making any gains on Joe, and Mike New is definitely gaining on Baza. He's wanting to get 6th place. He may even get Josiah and Don Smith if he continues this charge. He's got a lot of work to do though. Luca very wide. That's not the ideal line. That may be why Chris Johnson opened the gap on the last lap. I didn't see what happened to Luca on the last lap. Frustrating race for Luca because he definitely had the pace to potentially challenge for the victory, but Jack Pearson got the golden start. Mike and Luca were battling and just opened up the gap for Jack to just cruise off out of here and pretty much take this race victory so long as nothing happens to him. So coming up to the bus stop now, Luca coming close now to Chris Johnson. He's not close enough to obviously make a move. He'll again probably look to try and set it up. Maybe going onto the Kemmel Straight. I'll see if he gets run out of the hairpin in turn 1. He want to break as late as he can. That's too late though. Oh dear, Luca. No, 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 no. He's got damaged front wing. Basically now, this is his only opportunity with a damaged front wing. He has to just commit to this if he wants this position. He's going to lose so much steering from it. He's done well to keep that though. So here we go. Chris Johnson will have to defend from Luca with a damaged front wing. Luca's got to make this move and then defend for his life. Around the outside, Chris Johnson's positions card nicely there. It should be incredibly hard for Luca, and it is. It proves so as Chris Johnson holds off the position. Luca will now probably struggle to steer with Chris Johnson with the damaged front wing. It looks like it's already happening. So Dom Smith, if he saw that, I'm sure he will. He definitely should have seen the damage. Will now look to challenge his fellow Manxman to be top man from the land of men. Through Puhan, Jose in 5th, Mike Noon closing that gap up in 6th place. Damage limitation for Mike after his race victory earlier tonight in Budapest. Jack Pearson out in front, looks like he's just cruising, to be honest. He's maintained the gap at 14 seconds, he doesn't need to push. And Dom Smith is on the back end of Luca already. Luca struggling with that front wing damage. He committed far too much going into the rear end of Chris Johnson. He's going to struggle right here. Dom Smith, be very careful as he's looking everywhere around Blancheman. He's a madman, this Dom Smith. I wish he was like that when he paid me £5. He's not going to dive down the inside of Luca into the bus stop. Mike, I'm just going to check on that. He's not doing the same on Jose, maybe setting him up for the straight as Dom Smith now. Will he dive down the inside of Luca into turn 1? He doesn't. As in the background, I think Jose is defending there from Mike. Now Mike will have a run on him. They're going to go side by side through our rouge. He's going to get close to the wall. He's going to make contact with the Force India. We've seen that before in real life in Formula 1. Mike very abruptly blocks Jose. Mike will probably have the DRS as well, so Jose, be wise for him to maybe tuck back into the slipstream. Going side by side. Dom Smith has lost a bit to Luca there. Oh no, Joe's got the DRS. So Joe, can he go back around the outside of Mike? Mike's almost loses it into Joe. Fair play to Jose around the outside. Lovely little move. Mike now on the switchback. Is he going to make a move down the inside? He's having to think about it. He's going for it. It's contact. Oh, he just saves and survives for another day. He's going to be very careful. He's had terrible luck in this race with the spin, damage front wing. He's a man driving with the red mist down, it seems, as Dom Smith on the inside of Luca through Puhan. Luca's struggling. This should be an easy move for Dom Smith. Luca will forever defend though for all his might. He wants that podium. Dom Smith around the outside. Luca still hanging on in there. Go on, Luca. I mean, I'm not biased, but Dom Smith finally gets into the podium spot. Jose now and Mike New on the back of Luca. Luca will probably struggle to keep hold of them two behind. Jack Pearson has lapped Red Bull Cam. He's about to come onto the final lap. Has Jack Pearson made a mistake? He's lost an awful lot of time. He has? What on earth has he done? I wonder if he got caught with Red Bull Kim. Anyway, back to the battle. Dom Smith in third. He will pull away from Luca. It is now Jose again. Got the attention of Mike New. Mike New going around the outside. Again, will he be doing the switchback? It looks like he's trying it. Puts the power on. Slides out of turn 1. Onto the final lap. This is now do or die. Luca coming through. He's going to be struggling through it. Jose and Mike New. This is their chance to capitalize. Look at the speed that Jose carried. Much more than Luca. That's just with the downforce. We've got a terrible camera angle there of Mike Noon. No offence, Mike. Jose in the slipstream and DRS of Luca, who also had DRS from Dom Smith. That benefited definitely for him. So Luca lives to fight another day in 4th place. He's hanging up Mike Noon, closing right up there. Jose down the inside of Luca. He desperately needs to make that move. Luca hanging on. Mike Noon poised to make up 2 places. He will be wanting that. He'll be looking to capitalise on any mistake that Jose has. Jose's got to be very careful when passing Luca. Luca defending for all his might for that 4th place. Probably deserves a lot more for his efforts, but he made a mistake and he ran wide. Mike Noon, both of them through Puhan. Luca's going to be holding down the inside. He'll defend that, but Mike Noon's definitely got 1 position. Can Jose get him back? Mike Noon around the outside. Lovely move. That was a beautiful set. Pushes Luca wide. Luca's off the track. Jose is up to 5th place. So now Jose in the slipstream of Mike New. Can he challenge Mike going up to the bus stop? It doesn't look like it. Chris Johnson is also not all in the back of Jack Pearson. It's Jack Pearson. Does he have front wing damage? I don't know. Chris Johnson around the outside of Jack Pearson. Oh my goodness! Let's angle this side by side. Jack Pearson will just hold off Chris Johnson. He did have front wing damage. How on earth did Jack Pearson almost fuck that up? Don Smith in third. Mike Noon, incredible comeback to get fourth place. Red Bull Kim disqualified yet again. What are you doing, son? Jose fifth. Luca in sixth. Well, that was a far too exciting at the end of the race there. Jack Pearson, what were you doing? How did you almost throw away a certain victory? Of course, it was probably my fault for not paying attention. Solanix comes across the line in 7th, Baza in 8th, and Michael Kenny will come across the line in 9th place. Well, that final act was interesting. Well done, boys. So here is your podium. Jack Pearson first, Chris Johnson second, and Dom Smith, the man from the Isle Man who owes me a fiver, in third place. Jack Pearson lifts the trophy high there. Made it more difficult than it ever should have been. Now, I'd love to know what happened. I wonder if he got caught up with Red Bull Kim or if he just spun on his own Chris Johnson. Be very happy that he almost nicked it at the end. So here are your results. Jack Pearson with the smallest margin ever, less than a tenth, ahead of Chris Johnson second, Dom Smith third, Mike Noon a good comeback drive to finish in fourth place, only 6 seconds off the victory, so he'll be over the noon with that one. Jose fifth, Luca front wing damage cost him, he was down to 6th. Solanix in 7th, Bowser 8th, Mike Kenny 9th, Lewis Hamilton apparently 10th, that would be Jack Orb in DNF, Mr. John 11th, also out, and Red Bull Kim disqualified. And that is your TGP2 races for tonight. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next week.